Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1.5 Championship. We're today for the French Grand Prix. Round 13 out of 16. The championship is heating up, of course, but yeah, Paul Ricard, we return, and we're looking for what I'm going to say is going to be an optimistic race. Many people don't seem to like it. Yesterday we had a brilliant race, a very tasty one for the championship. As I said, we come to the closing stages of the season. The championship is all that we're thinking about. Now this guy right now is leading, but only by 20 points. It was once a very large lead. Now not so much. Still on incredible form. Let's see what they can do today, of course, at Paul Ricard as they come around the final corner to set their first lap. I do apologise for the delay of the stream. I do want to just let everyone know that we had a couple technical difficulties, but we're good to go now. Across the line goes Ben, and that is a fourth place, a 31.5. Cohen tops the times of 30.6. And then we have Mizzy, Heichler, Benjamin, and Dave Raptors returns as a reserve driver today. Benjamin doing some interesting techniques to avoid the other cars, maybe? I don't quite know, but it is what it is. Yeah. Dave Raptors returns back to the scene of LSI. Great to see them back, and let's see what they can do. We've got some new drivers like Olsen. We have Safari and Shawshank. Shawshank reserve driver today. They're trying to see what they can do on the circuit. Safari and Olsen, they are permanent drivers in their respective teams, of course. Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri. This guy right now, 20 points behind Benjamin. They have, is it 158 points? Ben 178. Then we have, of course, Cohen, who has 133, if I'm not mistaken. There's still a long way to go. There's still 4 races to go, and the sprint race, 4 races including this one. So it's still going to be very crazy. We've got 16 drivers. Of course, you take away Vale, PJ, Zingy, and Nifo as all higher tier drivers. So that does mean that makes 12 permanent drivers. There's still a lot of permanent drivers in the lobby. Reserve drivers, of course, the current reserve drivers of Shawshank and Heichler, they do count. Dave Raptors as well does count. So that's going to definitely be a little bit of a mix-up, I guess you could say. 8 minutes left on the clock, and we have Cohen leading the way still. They're on an outlap to try and defend that current pole position, but that is a big gap. 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths, is that right? Yeah, it is 7 tenths to the next car, so a massive gap. We've got this guy right now who's had a Grand Prix experience yesterday, of course, in the F1 race, so they kind of know what to expect performance-wise, which I think is going to be quite interesting to see. Will their straight line speed be an advantage as they try and make their way through the grid? We do not know, of course. Turn 1 and 2 is going to be incredibly treacherous. The high speed turn 1 and 2, very swooping. It's easy to get it horribly wrong. Hopefully that doesn't happen, and luckily if you do make contact you can just simply spin off to the side and carry on in the race, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And I'm saying that while we're talking with Gilly, of course, is because they had their issues at Saudi Arabia when there was really close walls. Of course, that big contact that caused them to DNF about 100 meters into that race. Now Gilly through turn 11, a lovely swooping corner, smooth on the throttle. Let's see what they can do. It'll be their second lap of the session, the second valid lap of the session, I believe. If not the second, it'll be the third, but I believe it is the second because we do have still one more lap available after this one. Into the hairpin, final time, let's go on the throttle, keep it smooth, up to the line now, just waiting. It's a really long way until the start-finish line here. It's pretty unique around the circuit. There you go, across the line. 4 tenths, almost 5 tenths improvement. That's a 31.3, immediately pushed back down by Robbo. That is a Mercedes 2.3 there, right there. That is lovely stuff, and 1.5 tenths pretty much away from Cohen. So pretty close now. Cohen's got a bit of time that he needs to find, but he's invalidated. Mizzy goes off the circuit as they try and set an improvement lap. They're also going to try and look for a tow from their teammate, so they might have lost a bit on turn 2. if they're not careful. They've got to be really, really cautious how this goes. Other than that, hopefully they should be alright. Now, what is going to happen? Oh, they've gone invalid. I wanted to see how much they could improve by if they had that slipstream, of course. But unfortunately, that will not happen in the end. It is what it is, of course. Now, let's see how this goes. Shawshank, of course, up to P3. Lovely stuff for them. A 31.2. Aston looking fairly strong today, maybe. Could we see them try and challenge? They are, of course, reserve driver, but they can still race their car, of course. Sorry for the delay. I'm just going to have to quickly sort something a minute. While I do that, we will go on board with... not Mizzy. They are invalid, of course. We'll go on board with Robbo, who's on a lap. In lap, sorry, I think. Who else is on a lap? We have Dave Raptors, I believe, on a lap right here. I think we do. Lovely stuff. All right, here we go. I will be right back. I do apologise for the wait. Alrighty, sorry for the delay. That is Dave Raptors up to P6. Lovely stuff for them. Got a bit of time. There's pretty close margins. Actually, exactly the same lap time with Dave Raptors and Mizzy there. Fair play to those guys. Extremely, extremely close between the two. But other than that, not sure if we're really... I don't think we have many cars on circuit. We have a Ferrari on their way out. That will be Gilly looking to try and set an improvement lap. We'll stay on board with them, as I will be right back, and I do apologise once again. We'll be ready for the final few laps of qualifying. Alrighty. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so Gilly on a lap, of course. We've got other people that will be on their way out as well. I think that's Olsen on their way out as well. Nifo is the AlphaTauri who's way down the straight, I'm pretty sure, of course. They're just setting their laps as they usually do, 6 laps on the softs. That's not going to improve them time-wise, but other than that, they should be okay to go. No worries there. Now... what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought. Come on. Right. Here we go. Gilly on their final lap. Let's see what they can do. Nifo disqualifies themselves as they are a higher tier driver. Of course, they're going to start at the back of the grid. Let's see what Gilly can do. I think this will be the start of their final lap, of course, because they're on an out lap right now. We have Benjamin and that is Mizzy on their way out at the moment. Other people leaving it quite late, I will admit. Very, very late for quite a few people. Gilly is going to cross the line to start their lap. Let's see what they can do now. 2 minutes 40 seconds. Okay, fair enough. Not particularly late, but obviously with everybody going out at the very, very end, it's going to be fairly chaotic. So the Aston that's on their way out right now, that's probably not the worst idea, of course. And come on, Gilly, let's see what they can do as they go into turn 5. Towards turn 6 now. Get smooth on the throttle. Open up the sting if you can. 2/10 improvement. Lovely stuff. Where would that put them? That's going to put them... oh, maybe they can get to P3 here if they can find a little bit more time. Other than that, it looks like a possible P4. They've still got a long way to go in this lap to try and improve or lose time if they're not careful. Here we go into the final sector. Let's see what the split's going to look like as they head up the mini straight. What's it going to be? And it is a 3/10 improvement. Okay, this is looking good. They could possibly get to P3. They need a little bit more time though, just to be safe. And of course, everybody else is going to come out for one final run to try and improve even further. Gilly's got these final few corners to go. Keep it really smooth. Late apex right here to get that traction down. Lovely, lovely, lovely done. And into the final two corners. Now we have turn 14 and 15. The great big hairpin. Will we see any sends into those final two corners? I kind of hope not, but I think we might do because, yeah, why not? Now, across the line. What's it going to be for Gilly? And it's going to be a P4. They missed out. They missed out. Oh, that's so tiny margins. That is such a shame there for them. We have Olsen, who's on an invalid lap, unfortunately. They will not improve. Who else is going to be on a lap? Is that the Aston of Shawshank, I believe? No, it's Heisler. It is Heisler who's going to try and look for an improvement, but no, they're invalid as well. Who else is on a lap? I don't actually know. Is Shawshank on a lap here or on the out lap? You can never really tell with the new game. It is what it is. We're just going to have to wait and see how it goes. Unfortunately, they aren't on an improvement lap regardless, so they're going to have to go again, as you can see by their timing. We're going to stay on board with Mizzy at the moment and see what they can do. And then we might switch on with somebody else. We've got Alfa Romeo crossing the line. They will not improve. They're starting a lap possibly. The Red Bull of is that Dave Raptors crossing the line? No, they're starting a lap, or they haven't improved. We do have Benjamin, who I think is crossing the line. We'll see what they can do now as they go across the line. What's it going to be? And it's not an improvement. A P8 it will be for Benjamin. We've got the other Red Bull and the other Mercedes very close together up the road, as you can see. What's it going to be here for Mizzy, though, as they come round for the final time? And it's going to be P3. It's going to be a Mercedes 2-3 right now. Heisler will not improve. Gilly in the pit lane. Shawshank will not improve. I think for everybody, that is going to be it. Will Tafari be able to try and make their way through? No, they've invalidated. Larlock. Will they have the ability to get up the order? Let's see. Will the split time be enough? I don't quite know. Yes, 2/10. Let's see what this can do with them. They still need to find a lot more time if they actually want to get ahead by one more position. They need another 2/10 to try and get to P10, and a little bit more time to get to P9. So they've got to find a fair bit more. Cohen goes for an even faster lap time, a 30.4. Didn't even really need to challenge it at this stage, but a 30.4, absolutely incredible. Well done to him. That's a significant margin to the rest of the field, so he's looking very good for this race so far. Now, Larlock, DRS available. What's it going to be for the final time in qualifying? And it's going to be a P9. Lovely stuff. A 31.9 there for Larlock. But this guy, all eyes on this guy. Cohen takes pole position for the French Grand Prix. That's exactly where they want to be. They do have both Mercedes right behind them. Heisler in P4 between Gilly, who is going to be right there in P5 as well, and Benjamin, the championship leader, down in P8. Although, you know Ben, he always finds a way to get through. He always finds a way to get through. Cohen will know that, but he's doing everything he needs to right now. Cohen wins pole position at least. Robbo in P2, and then we got Mizzy in P3. This is the rest of the grid, and then we're going to skim through the race director just in case if we need to later on. And then we'll see you in a minute for the race. Ready? Hold. Go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? Will Cohen be able to take advantage of that initial launch? Or will the Mercedes be able to fight back? Will the Aston maybe get into it? I don't quite know. Cohen gets a lovely launch. The Mercedes slotting behind one another. That's Gilly making it 3 wide. They've got the Rebel on the inside. They manage to slot through and they take the advantage. The two Astons are side by side. The Alpines round. That's this Vale. I do not believe it. And that is, the Aston on the inside of the Red Bull. The Red Bull losing more positions. Actually, they get forced round. There's a bit of contact between the two. I don't know what happened there. That's Dave Raptors all the way down the order. Cohen leads the way. Robbo in P2. Mizzy in P3. Gilly a little far behind as they do have Dave Raptors still right there. That was actually Larlock who, lost his positions. My bad there. But Dave Raptors is right there. Very, very close. Shawshank also interestingly lost positions as Mizzy has went round. I didn't... What happened? I have no idea what's happened. Further down the order, that's Benjamin looking to make a move here on Tafari. Can he find a way through? Tafari to the outside line now. He will not have the advantage. He has to back off and let the McLaren go for that move. Larlock, this is Vale. Orson losing those positions, of course, Mizzy as well. Shawshank is right there. It doesn't look like they have damage. They've all just spun, collected each other maybe. I don't quite know what has gone on, but that is Robbo! Robbo's round. I don't believe it. What's happened? Robbo loses all those positions from P2 down to P6, and Gilly all of a sudden is in P2. Benjamin's at the back of the grid and the championship is on once again. I do not believe it. Cohen goes for a fastest lap of the race. No surprise there as he does lead the way, but that is absolutely incredible. Zingy up the order fairly quickly as ever. Cohen leads the way. Gilly now 2.9 seconds, 3 seconds away from Cohen. Dave Raptors very, very close to keep the pressure on, and Heisler also is right there. They've got the higher tier driver of Zingy also. Obviously there, they can use him to his advantage. Obviously higher tier drivers sometimes can cause a bit of problems, but usually you can find a way to use them to your advantage. Right now, Zingy looks like he's going to go for the lead early on. Go for the lead of the Aston Martin, of course. They want to try and make these moves and cause a minimal impact to the rest of the field. PJ also going to be looking to do a similar thing, and Nifo, of course, as well in the AlphaTauri. Those guys are on their own at the moment. They've got Mio Diomati right behind, who looks pretty racy, but he's not going to go for any kind of move as of now. They're just going to sit back and wait for this one. We've got very, very close here is Robbo looking for the move on Heisler already as he's trying to make his way back through the field after that initial mistake. I don't know what happened, so I have to look at it later on, of course, after the race to see if there were any issues. But right now, Robbo looking so close, but he's not going to go for it right here. Going to try and secure a good exit. Is he going to possibly make a move on the Aston? The Aston gets a really good exit despite squirming away, but no. The second phase charge here on the Mercedes is even better. He has the inside line and he will take that position. I don't think Heisler's going to get the switch back. It's not going to be enough on those hard tyres against the medium tyre. PJ, of course, right behind. They want to try and make some moves. They're right there and they're actually going side by side into the braking zone to try and make it a little bit early on. I didn't expect that one, to be honest. Nifo's going to be right there as well. As long as they don't lose the DRS train, they'll be good. They've got to be careful that they don't lose the DRS train, but I think they might have actually if they're not careful. That is Zingy going for the move on Dave Raptors. Zingy makes one more place and he's also having a look on Gilly. Yes, he will go for a move on Gilly as soon as he possibly can, just now running away with it if possible and getting out of trouble. Now that is Dave Raptors looking so close to the back of Gilly. Will he challenge? I don't think he will. Swaps back into the slipstream, back to the inside line now. He will have a look for the move on the inside line. Gilly off the track, as you can see from Robbo's POV, and now Gilly loses the position. Dave Raptors is up into P2 for the F1.5 EU drivers. I do not believe it. Gilly went off the circuit. They couldn't keep it on. absolutely mental right there. Heischler down the orders. He loses the positions to the higher tier drivers. Not the worst thing in the world. We got Mildy or Matty, and this is Vale who switches positions. This is Vale managing to make their way up the order despite that initial collision at turn 1 and 2. So good job for them. Mildy or Matty leading their teammate. Their teammate got pressure with Larlock. Mizzy, of course, behind them. So everybody is in a bit of a battle except from Cohen and Benjamin that are on their own at the moment. Mizzy, P13, of course, they want to try and catch up here. They do have Shawshank close behind. These two, I think they've got pace. Also, Olsen, of course, who's stuck behind them as well. I say stuck behind them, sticking with them, I should say. We don't know their pace relative to the front runners. So, yeah, it is what it is. Benjamin at the back at the moment, 3.5 seconds. Not exactly losing time, but not gaining time either. That's a mistake there for Heischler, unfortunately, as he's gone off at turn 6. And oh no, that's Shawshank also losing it. I do not believe it. I don't know what happened. I think he must have just got distracted or something as his teammate up ahead was spun. I don't know what's going on here. I always miss it. I always miss these spins that are happening. Dave Raptor's right behind Zingy, sticking with Zingy, and Gilly has actually lost the positions to Robbo, PJ, Nippo. All of them have managed to get through that Ferrari. I do not know what is going on. Robbo's sitting in P4. They can't get past the 2 cars ahead, of course, in that DRS train, unless they can get a really good section of corners, but I don't know. Lap 4 of the 27, we haven't had that many laps of racing, but we've had a lot of switch-ups that have happened so far, and I can't really keep up, I'm not going to lie. PJ right here, Nifo behind. Now, maybe Gilly's straight line speed isn't really enough of an advantage. Look, you can see they're not actually catching to the cars ahead, and of course, as they're in a DRS train, the straight line speed all of a sudden just kind of cancels out just a little bit, not completely, but it does definitely reduce the effectiveness. So yeah, that is an interesting situation to see Gilly in, but is he on that hard tyre? Maybe that might be why what's happening is happening. PJ, Nifo on their own at the moment behind Robbo. They can't find their way through, although Robbo just making that mistake. Will PJ push for the move? They're close, they're gaining. Will they still try and go for it? I think they are going to have a look to the inside line. Just going to spot their braking point, and then they'll wait and sit behind. Not worth it, they weren't closing enough, but they spot the mistake, and they had a look, of course. Dave Raptors right now is running away with Zingy at the moment. Robbo still needs to try and be within that DRS range if he wants to try and get up the order. Dave Raptors loving life at the moment as he's in P3 on the hard tyre, and also, of course, in the DRS of Zingy. It looks like that might change very, very shortly, as that is PJ and Nifo switching positions. I don't know what happened there. I think PJ must have made a mistake or something, but they're now slotting in between Nifo and Gilly right there. So the DRS train is kept alive for these guys at least, and also this is Vale has joined the back of it as well. So yeah, interesting situations going on, but as I was saying, Dave Raptors has now lost that DRS range from Zingy, so Zingy's now running with it, going to try and catch Cohen ahead if possible. No longer will this train be dragged towards Cohen, and that Shawshank retiring from the session in the pit lane, such a shame for them. I don't know what's happened, but whatever's happened has happened, and we can't do anything about it now. No safety car will be deployed, as that is probably getting very, very close to the track limits on exit, as they're trying to maximise the amount of circuit they have available to them, of course. And we'll go down the straight. Nifo looking for the move. They're going to go for it. They're going to push for it onto the inside line. Robbo didn't want to give it up. They broke a lot later, turned into the corner without thinking too much, and Nifo backed out. So Nifo, of course, he wants to get through, but he can't get through, and he's not exactly got any energy to really play with it. He can't really charge too much through the field, just stuck with these guys. The lead train, I guess you could say, is a one-man train with Cohen. Then we have the second phase train with everybody in, and then, of course, we've got a bit of a shindig going on here as that is, Mizzy on the inside of Larlock, now to the outside. Larlock now has the inside line. Will Mizzy go for the switchback, or are they going to try and stick it the long way round? They're going to try and stick it the long way round. This will be their best opportunity now to the outside line. Is it going to be possible? Now they have the inside once again. Bit of a very minor touch. So close. DRS available for both drivers. So now it is a drag race down the straight to try and get the advantage. And it's going to be the Mercedes that has it. And now they'll try and catch up collectively to Mio Diomati. A lovely little battle right there between those guys. And it was a nice one as well. Larlock does lose the position. They've got to make sure that they stay within. Heisler trying to make their way back up the order, of course. Benjamin as well. Olsen and Tafari, they're all working their way back. And they're almost in the train. So lovely trains going on right now, right here, of course. And that is a big problem, as that's Nifo going off the circuit. And that is Robbo having an issue as those guys were fighting. So there was some sort of incident into turn 8 maybe, or even on the straight. I don't know. That was a weird one. What is going on? I can't really see anything because everything just kind of switches. The camera angles are so zoomed in and wide that you don't see anything around it. It's just so difficult to actually understand what's happening. But what has happened is that Robbo and Nifo both lost those positions. And now they've got a little bit more work to do that in their own train. And that's an inside maneuver there for PJ, as that is Dave Raptors deciding to go into the pit lane anyway. So he's going to try and get everybody else to react. It's an interesting strategy. I guess he's going to go for a double set. No, he's actually got damage. I didn't realise that. So something's happened there. What's happened there? So Dave Raptors, Robbo and Nifo, maybe there was some sort of incident there. And he's got damage. He can still do a double medium here and stay in this race, but that's a very tricky situation to be in. Cohen leading the way by an absolute mile, loving life at the moment. We've got a safety car, a yellow flag I should say, as that's Olsen going slowly as they're now back up to speed, so I don't know what's gone on with them. Very unfortunate to see, but it is what it is. This is Vale leading this train of Gilly, who's not actually in the train. Robbo, of course, side by side with Nifo, as those guys are on their own, and Mizzy trying to catch up in their own little train with Mio Diomati. They recently just got past Mio Diomati, who might have another return, but I don't think he will. He doesn't seem to have the energy because of that flashing light on the back of his car, of course. So he's going to have to sit behind, harvest some energy, and wait for an overtake in a little while. But yeah, Nifo and Robbo very close together. They can't seem to get through. I really don't know what's gone on with these guys. Robbo lets Nifo go. Are they going to make a pit stop here, or are they going to work together in a bit of a train? I don't quite know. Alrighty, let's see what happens here. Now Nifo leads the way, but not with much ERS, so that's going to allow Robbo to get back through pretty quickly. We've got This Is Vale also pretty close to the back of PJ, as they've done an incredible job to make their way back up the order and try and see if they can close in on the cars ahead. Of course, they did spin early on, so they lost minimal time because everybody else was extremely close to one another, so there's a plus side for that, of course. That's a 3 second for Mio Diomati as he tries his best to follow on with Mizzy in front of him. Now, this is Vale looking for the move, and also this move right here. Is Robbo going to try and make it work on Nifo? Doesn't look like it. They're going to have to wait behind. Same for This Is Vale. They can't find a way through either. They're just going to have to sit and wait behind unless they can get a good enough run. No, PJ's gone slightly defensive, as that's This Is Vale just spotting the breaking point, maybe trying to send PJ a bit of a message. We can work in a train here, he's saying, to try and catch up to Zingy, if you would like, of course. Nifo leads the way. Mizzy and Mio Diomati. Mio Diomati so close, but I assume, like last time, he just doesn't have the ERS to pressurize the car in front, so he just needs to try and harvest it and then fight back in a little bit. Larlick sticking with this train as well, as actually that's Mio Diamati making a very minor mistake, and that might be actually pretty costly. A very minor mistake has just turned into an absolutely massive mistake, as he does lose DRS. Larlick's going to have a brilliant opportunity here to now make the move on the Alfa Romeo. They've got a lot of energy to be deployed compared to Masi, that does not have anything left in the tank battery-wise, so that is going to be an interesting one to see in a bit. Heischler in a P11, we got Safari in P12, Olsen, Benjamin, Dave Raptors. I don't think Benjamin and Olsen made pit stops, but they're close together, so maybe we can see something happen there. Dave Raptors goes for a fastest lap. That is a yellow, as that is Tafari unfortunately making a mistake and losing some positions. He's back on circuit, and hopefully we can see him back into this race very shortly. This Vettel does switch positions. Robbo might have a switch of positions here, but we're looking at Larlick to see if they are going to go for a move on the Alfa Romeo. No, doesn't look like it. They catch a significant amount, as that is interesting manoeuvres there for Matty. Kind of goes defensive. A little bit too late, even though he didn't need to go defensive. Now, ERS, will it be used by Larlick? Doesn't look like it. Yes, he will. He is going to try and challenge for the move, as we will go through turn 10. Will he have the advantage as we get into turn 11? Is he going to go for the send? He will not go for the send. He's going to wait. He's actually on the disadvantaged tyre at this stage of the race. Cohen into the pit lane. Going to cause the reaction. Let's see what happens here. He is on that medium tyre. Of course, Zing will take the lead on that hard tyre. This is Vale. Oh, on the medium tyre as well as PJ. Gilly leads for the F1.5 drivers now. On that hard tyre, he's on a, I guess you could say, superior strategy, although Cohen now has held off any kind of safety car, so he can go back to a set of mediums if he would like to. That doesn't really make any sense, to be honest. I'm just chatting absolute gibberish, because Gilly also would be in a very good position if a safety car would happen, and for the EU drivers, he would be in the best position if a safety car did happen. Of course, Nifo in P5, as Robbo's made a recent pit stop. They are no longer battling. Larlick did make that move ahead of Matty, but they've got two cars so close together, and that's actually Cohen in a lot of dirty air here. That is unfortunately also making a mistake, but a lot of dirty air here for Cohen. He's got a car right behind, two cars up ahead. Larlick, who's going to be impossible to catch in a straight line, and he will not be able to get through a DRS train easily. He's going to have to try and find his way through on the brakes, I reckon. All the energy, if he can secure a good enough run and use the energy to his advantage, but he's got to really be calculated in how he does this, I guess is the correct word, but no, goes off the circuit. Could have got himself a warning if he's not careful. Is he going to look for the inside move? He will look for the inside move, and he's gone for it. He made the move. Matty backs off and lets him go for it. Brilliant stuff there for Cohen. That's exactly what he needed to do, and he's got it done. The DRS now will be in full effect for the Williams, but will he get close enough, and will he be able to outrun that Red Bull in a straight line? I do not know. I do not know. Very, very good stuff between these guys. PJ into the pit lane, of course, as well. And we'll have to wait and see where they come out. I want to know where Cohen comes out, as they're right behind us. They're actually going for the move already on the Red Bull. Going for the move already. Brilliant, brilliant maneuver. They obviously have enough confidence in the straight line speed of that car to be able to defend on the next straight, I guess. They're not going to worry about any pressure that returns from Larlick. I don't quite know. That's an interesting maneuver, almost breaking away from DRS very early on. So close. Might have even done it. I'm not quite sure. DRS isn't available for Larlick, so they did an amazing job to catch up, and they got the DRS of Mizzy as well. That is an absolutely epic charge there for Cohen, and he's going to look to try and get past that Mercedes very, very shortly, as soon as he possibly can. Larlick, Heischler, Matty, back to these guys. Matty is looking pretty close to the back of Heischler, but although Heischler, I think, has just made that move, of course, because Matty loses more and more and more as they got passed by Cohen. Is he going to have a look for the inside line? Yes, he will. No, a little bit overshot. Has to back off, as he did just have a sneaky look. This is Vale into the pit lane. And that will be a slight reaction maybe to Zingy if they can try and catch up in a bit as a time penalty for me or D or Matty. Cohen gets past Mizzy there. Robbo on his own at the moment. They do have Dave Raptors right behind them, and Benjamin also, who is right behind them. That's an interesting soft tyre there for Robbo. Benjamin is on his hard tyre, so he's not going to be pitting anytime soon. These guys have made their pit stops, of course, so he's right close behind in a bit of a train, and this will help him later on into this race. Very interesting scenarios these guys are in, and hardly any ERS available for Dave Raptors as he's in this train. Ben can try and hold on as best as he can. Energy-wise, these two guys are pretty much dead at the moment, both of them. On the soft tyre, interestingly for Robbo, he leads the way. Yeah, I'm not really entirely sure what the strategy is here for the Mercedes driver, but it is what it is. Now, DRS is available for Dave Raptors. I don't know if he'll go for a move. He's going to close a lot, but it's not really worth fighting a soft tyre runner, of course. They're just going to have to try and lose minimal time if possible. Or is he going to have a go at the second phase? No, he won't. He's just going to have to wait behind. We've got PJ, who's looking very, very close to the back of this Avail. Are they going to try ascend? I don't think it's going to really work. They actually bottom out on the curb, which loses them a lot of momentum. And if Avail has such an advantage, it's all over anyway before he had an opportunity. That is completely gone. Zingy leads the way. Gilly not pitted yet, promoted to P2 overall now. So good stuff for them as they're making this strategy work. Cohen now has clean air to P4. In P4 I should say, and he's just now going to try and work on himself, focus on himself to catch up to the cars ahead and minimise that undercut or alternate strategy disadvantage I think he would possibly have if there isn't a safety car, of course. That will be something that we'll have to check in on a little bit later. Now, I want to look at this battle here. We've got Mizzy, who has pitted recently, going for the move on the inside of the Alfa Romeo. There's contact between the two, and there is a bit of an issue there, unfortunately. I don't know if they've got damage, but there's a further bit of contact, and Tafari goes off the circuit. They're going to get back onto the circuit, but that's not what we want to see. I didn't really understand what was happening there. It looked like Mizzy went for the move, but the door closed. Then they spun off and lost the car on the exit curb, possibly. I don't quite know. Mizzy, in the end, has got through, and that is Larlock right behind, who will look to challenge on the Mercedes. They're going to have to go to the outside line as Mizzy goes to that inside line. Larlock, does he have the advantage into the braking zone? He has the inside line. He has the lead. Will he be able to get back ahead? I don't know. DRS available, not available, I should say. ERS is available. They're so close up this straight, unnecessarily close, making contact between the two, and that is Larlock trying to hold it the long way round, but it's not possible. It is actually possible. They're still right there, sticking their nose in, but they're going to have to back off eventually. No, sending it on the brakes, a little bit of contact between the two. That is Mizzy managing to hold on to the position. Larlock fought mightily, but it wasn't enough. They're going to have to back off and try and fight again in a little bit. Trying to defend the inside line goes Mizzy. He's made a mistake into the hairpin, though, by doing so. So he could be in trouble. DRS available once again for Larlock, but he's used all the battery and it's not really going to be too easy. Zingy goes and gets himself a time penalty, unfortunately. Gilly leads the way for the EU2 drivers, of course. Who pitted just then? I don't know. It was Nifo. Nifo just pitted. So Cohen now is in complete clean air until he gets to the next current tier driver, and he will be back into the lead. He is the net race leader. Then we have Heischler, who I don't think has pitted yet. We're going to have a look at the data, actually. Why not? Position changes, 12 positions from Zingy, doing an absolutely amazing job, of course. And then we have the pit stops. So, yeah, Heiser hasn't pitted. Zingy goes to the pit lane. Gilly's probably going to react, of course. He is the reigning champion of the F1 tier. So it would be probably a wise idea to do so. It's a safe strategy as well, of course, because he should, in theory, know what he... He should, in theory, know what he's doing. There you go. And Cohen in P3, he's going to get that move done as those guys are in the pit lane. Will Zingy get the undercut? Regardless, he's going to be on that medium tire, so he'll have the advantage in a little bit, of course. We'll have to wait and see how much of a benefit it will be. Time will tell. This is PJ Gilly loses the positions to those guys. That is Dave Raptors, who looks to try and take the advantage over Gilly, and they will have the advantage over Gilly. So will Robbo, so will Niffo, but not Ben, who's found himself right here. Ben is going as long as they possibly can on these tyres, because if a safety car comes out, all of a sudden, they're right in the battle. They are right in the battle. It's a really exciting thing to see here, as you see Ben right there. Gilly losing positions, of course, they're on that colder tyre. They can't really compete here, but we now have Robbo, who might have a go on Dave Raptors. They're on these soft tyres that aren't really going to be too beneficial, and it's not really going to help them. Robbo trying his best to hold on as he loses ERS. Side by side, Robbo has the inside line. There's a bit of contact between the two teammates. Nippo goes round the outside, the long way round, makes the move. Is he going to go for two in a couple of corners? I don't know. Yes, he will, as he goes to the outside line. Robbo goes defensive. Will the AlphaTauri have the advantage? He still has the outside line. Is he going to take it though? I don't know. The outside line has the advantage. He understeers into him. There's contact and Robbo is round. That was extremely unfortunate. Not what we wanted to see. He understeers as they get further through turn 11, and unfortunately that is that battle done. Dave Raptors is still going to be there though to be possibly picking up the pieces of that maneuver. I don't quite know. Gilly stays within the DRS as that's Benjamin into the pit lane. I thought it was making a move there, but no, not into the hairpin. He'll go into the pit lane. He's had enough of these tyres, and he's going to go onto that medium tyre and see what he can do in the second phase of this race, of course. Gilly sits there in this DRS, and they could possibly gain a position by this. Of course, Niffo is a higher tier driver, but Dave Raptors, now with a 3-second time penalty, is a current tier driver, and they will score points relative to them. So all the points that they can gain here is very, very useful to them. Dave Raptors in P6 at the moment. DRS available. Will they have the advantage? Will they have the ability to push for a move on Niffo? Niffo just made that move recently, of course, on Dave Raptors, and they're going to maintain it this lap. Dave Raptors will not be able to come back right now. And 9-lap-old tyres, it's not going to be very easy to do it later on, of course, either. They're going to have a long way to go on these tyres if they want to try and go to the end of the race. Cohen leads the way only by about a second now, as Zingy did get a very, very nice strategy call there, of course, by starting on that hard tyre. Although Cohen, he really went for the strategic move, you know, for the championship, starting on that medium tyre, escape from everybody, and then just focus on clean air. And that's exactly what he got. He had a bit of traffic, of course, after he pitted, but he just warmed up the tyres, got through, and he's in a great position. Zingy going to be very quick. He doesn't need to fight him. He can just let him go. Although Zingy is pretty low on that ERS right now. We'll have to see how that goes. This was very rapid last time around in Abu Dhabi. Let's see what they can do. PJ in P4 doing a great job as well. And we have Niffo. Dave Raptors, who is now possibly out of DRS range, and that will allow Gilly to have a very good opportunity at making a move on this Red Bull. It's going to be extremely, extremely possible here as we head on to lap, or as we are on lap 18 out of 27. Time will tell if they will make that move. Dave Raptors is ahead at the moment. DRS available, ERS available, at least to Gilly. Dave Raptors, his flashing light was on. Here we go. Gilly will go for the move. Go for the switcheroo as he goes to the outside line now, forces Dave Raptors to the awkward line. Will he be able to secure a good enough exit to challenge again? Or is he just sat here relaxing behind the Red Bull? No, he is going to challenge for the move to the inside line. A lovely run, and the straight line speed is absolutely mesmerizing. Brilliant, brilliant stuff there. The Ferrari is just too powerful in a straight line. It's absolutely incredible. Really brilliant job. Dave Raptors on that inferior strategy, doing his best here. I will say he is doing a pretty good job to try and keep up with the fresher tyres. Heischler on his own at the moment. They do have Mizzy, I should say, behind them. And not too far as well. Mizzy and Lalek both on a hard tyre, so they're going to be faster later on into this race. But Heischler probably won't actually have any problems. A bit of lag there, unfortunately. I think that's just the nature of this circuit. It's another one of those circuits that do have some interesting lag issues, but it is what it is. We'll have to see how that goes later on. Mio Diomati on his own at the moment. They do have the cars ahead, of course, and they will have a chance to catch up to Lalek, who's on that hard tyre. So let's see if Mio Diomati can get back into this race in not too long, I should say. Benjamin at the moment in P12, and Robbo, Orson, Tafari are, of course, behind them. So let's have a look at what is going on. We're going to decide somebody to go on board with, and that will be with Mizzy, who might have a chance to get a bit more time gained, of course, in the cars ahead. So Cohen leads the way for the EU drivers. Then we have Gilly in P2, Dave Raptors in P3, Heischler, Mizzy, Lalek, Mil Diomati, and then in P8 is Benjamin. Ben needs to finish, I think, is it like P5 every race, and it wouldn't be... it would still be possible for Cohen to win, but he still needs to get P5 every race. So if Ben can just try and minimise that gap, then it would be brilliant for him. But Gilly in P2, he's going to be, at this rate, significantly closer. I won't do the maths now. I'll get it horribly wrong, and it will be a laughing stock, of course. But Mizzy holds on to the DRS for just a little bit, but unfortunately I think that will be the last of it. I don't think they're going to be able to catch up anymore. Heischler will be able to run away with this one right now. Alrighty. Everybody is pretty much split up. There's not really a gap for anybody to make an overtake at the moment, except for Mizzy, who does actually catch up a lot to Heischler on the straight. Would it be enough for them to catch here and possibly make a move? Regardless, it's not really going to be enough to make a move because of the tyre difference. It's just going to be about minimising time loss and maybe being able to make a move later on into this race. At the moment, the tyre wear situation, they might have a chance to get ahead of Dave Raptors if Dave Raptors' tyres do die off later on. I'm not entirely sure about the tyre life of these these tyres, but that's going to be a very difficult job. A very difficult job for Dave Raptors to do. Mizzy does lose the DRS, and that will be that one done. Not really anybody in an overtaking situation. Just thinking of any possible battles that could be brewing within the next few laps. And what might happen further down the order. Somebody's probably going to go for a fastest lap. But who does? I don't quite know. Now, Ben, he just needs to try and put some consistent laps in and see how it goes. Time penalty wise, will he be able to make any moves? Yes, he will. Mio Diomati, 14 seconds of time penalties and 8 seconds of time penalties to Lalek. So right now, Benjamin can make 2 positions just off time penalties. Yes, he has the 3 seconds. He still needs to be within 5 seconds of Lalek. So actually, maybe not. My bad. But he will have a very good chance of getting ahead of Matty, of course, with that 14 seconds. So it's not going to be easy for him. Tyre-wise, Benjamin does have, I would say, the advantage over Lalek at the moment. So they might have a chance to catch up, but they're going to have a lot of pace in that car if they want to do so. But yeah, not many people without time penalties, you know. If there is a safety car, that will really mix things up. That's a yellow flag for PJ. Unfortunately, he's spun, and that is going to be Gilly making that move. So Gilly gets to P5. PJ doesn't have any damage, it seems. So an interesting spin, I think, at turn 8, and then they're just getting back onto the track at turn 9, possibly. That does promote, of course, Nifo and PJ. Now, Nifo and Gilly doesn't actually gain anything from this, of course, because they are a current tier driver and PJ is a higher tier driver. So by that happening, the point system doesn't really change. So Gilly makes the move, still in P2 regardless. they're just loving life at the moment. They do have PJ right behind, who might now help them with a bit of a DRS train as long as they fight it strategically, of course. Dave Raptors isn't too far away. We're definitely watching on board with Dave Raptors here. There you go. Now we are watching on board with Dave Raptors. Good stuff. And at the moment, just sitting on his own, not really doing anything too much. Right now, trying to make these tyres last to the rest of the race, I will assume, sat in P7. So he's just going to focus on himself at the moment, get some tunnel vision going, and see what he can do a little bit later on. This is Vale catching up to Cohen, another higher tier driver. He is going to probably, once again I'd say, not going to fight. This is Vale, time penalty wise. 6 seconds to Cohen, 6 seconds for Cohen. Okay, so if the safety car was to happen, Cohen would be screwed. But at the moment, it's not looking likely, and that would be allowing Cohen to get a very, very nice lead. So he needs to make sure he doesn't lose any time. So by doing so, it's probably easier to just let this as well go through. It would be the most boring strategy, but it would be the safest strategy and the ideal strategy for Cohen, of course. We have PJ, who is fairly close to the back of Gilly, but not within DRS range anymore. Mizzy's not really losing that much time to Heischler, say. Would it be enough for them to get a switch back on tyre advantage later on in the race? I don't think so. But still, they're not really that far off, to be honest. Well, to wait and see if it does become a, not problem, but opportunity, a factor later on into this race. But at the moment, doesn't really seem to be a problem. Lissavel's going to make that move on Cohen. Cohen's going to have to just let him go. He doesn't have to, but it's probably the best thing to do. No, he's not going to let him go. He is going to fight it. He maintains the position for now. This is Vale now has the advantage. He's leading. And Cohen, is he really going to try and fight it on the inside? It looks like he will try and fight it. Has the inside line. Tries to take the racing line as much as he can as contact as he pushes him off. He pushes him off. I don't believe it. I don't know what's going on. This is Vale is not able to get through as Cohen pushes. This is Vale off the circuit. That's going to be an interesting one. Just because they're a higher tier driver, you will get a penalty if you do so. They let them go through in the end, but they still lost by fighting, like, I don't know, 3 seconds to Zingy. So this is Vale, Zingy, both high tier drivers. This is Vale wants to lose as little time as possible to try and get further up the order. And Cohen also, but Cohen seemed to fight it interestingly. So not really sure what just happened there, but it is what it is. What's done is done. We're going to go back with PJ, gone the wrong way round on the list. But Gilly is possibly going to have a threat at least. I say they will, but it's not really going to be much of a big deal, as that is actually Benjamin, who's right there behind Mio Diomati. He's all of a sudden caught, as Mio Diomati seems to have made a mistake, as they have lost a lot of time. It's either that, or Benjamin's just caught up a massive amount. Now, time penalty-wise, if he does get through, the time penalties just become pointless to Ben, and he will have the advantage, of course. He needs to make sure that he tries his best to catch up to Lalek. I say Lalek's already lost the position, so Lalek's had an issue. I didn't see what happened and when that happened, but it was within the last 2 laps, I think, that has happened. A yellow flag, and I think that is for Lalek once again, unfortunately. Yes, it is. Not ideal to see Lalek down the order. Benjamin, though, is going to look for a move on Matty. The Alfa Romeo will be threatened as he's going to go to the inside line. There's contact between the two. Hopefully that's not damaged, but the Alfa Romeo tries to hold on to the position as best as they possibly can. They get a time penalty. Benjamin will make the move. It was a little bit aggressive from either driver, I guess. Not really wanting to comment on the incident until later on, but that was an interesting situation to be in, as he's sending it on the inside. Doesn't have the ability to back up the manoeuvre on the exit though, so it never was going to work, but he still tried to have a look and put the pressure onto Ben, so I respect him for that. But that was a Very strange situation to be in. I don't quite understand what happened there, but it is what it is, and Benjamin is now through. The time penalties would not really affect things too much, so Ben just needs to try and make sure that he gets ahead and runs away if possible. Mio Diamatti trying to fight to minimize the damage to the cars behind. Ideally for him, he stays ahead of Larlick, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. Gonna get the pressure. He's gonna get the pressure. He's so close. We've also got PJ and Gilly as he sends it to the inside to make sure Ben knows he's there. Now, onto the straight. He's gonna have the DRS. Is he gonna have the energy to deploy to try and catch back up? I don't think he will. Benjamin, use the energy that he's got left, and it's not going to be really much that he can do about it, Matty. He's not going to be in a position to go for move into the braking zone. He'll have to wait for it. Will he be able to get a good enough exit? No, that is it. Benjamin will secure the move by doing so. Lovely stuff for Ben. He is through. Now, also PJ is extremely close to the back of Gilly. They don't need to risk anything, of course. They just want to make the move as smoothly as possible. They're not exactly losing time to the car behind, of course, because Dave Raptors is on so old tyres that it's not really a big deal. Now, PJ is going to go for the move. Gilly will lose it. They're going to back off, let PJ go for it, and live to fight another day. We're actually on lap 26 and a 27 already of this race. Yeah, this is the French Grand Prix. It is what it is, I guess you could say. We've had some dramatic moments. We've had some great racing. We've had some controversial moments. But at the end of the day, we've got to the end. We've got a couple more corners to go. We've got one more lap and 1.5 laps, I guess you could say, to go of this race. And that will be that one done. As PJ just goes slightly defensive. Gilly spots his braking point. And that is about all that will happen with that situation. Heisler and Mizzy might have a bit... No. Heisler and Dave Raptors might have a bit of a shindig. Heisler extremely quick on the brakes, of course. Dave Raptors, not so much. I don't know what time penalties these guys have, but I assume it's probably going to be equal if they're fighting this hard. Heisler wants to go for the move a little bit earlier on because Dave Raptors is going to be extremely slow. If he can get ahead into the corners, then he'll have a big advantage, and he sent it to the inside. Wasn't even contact. Dave Raptors goes off the circuit. Is he going to puncture? I don't know. He just all of a sudden lost it. Yes, he does. The front right punctures at the most crucial moment, and he loses a position. I don't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, the mediums will only go 18 laps, and that is such a shame. Such a shame to see. And Benjamin has struck gold as he is now going to get an extra position. I do not believe it. I do not believe that at all. Absolutely incredible. Heisler makes the move after all. Mizzy's not going to be close enough to make a move, and that was a pretty move in the end for Heisler. A pretty easy move, I should say, for Heisler. But Dave Raptors going to lose all his positions. Going to have to go for a pit stop. No fastest lap will be available. Robbo going to go around the outside of Matty. Matty can't really do anything about it. Cut the corner as they try and go for the switchback, but it wasn't available. Robbo now is going to have a great opportunity to get back past Benjamin. Is this going to be for position? Will the time penalty say otherwise? It's not even for position, but he's made contact. I don't know what Robbo's doing. He's got the time penalties. He doesn't actually need to do anything here. It's not really worth it. DRS is now available. ERS pretty much dead for both of these guys. And it is what it is. They're not going to make a move. I know we're crossing the line right now, but I want to stay on board with these guys. Once again, contact, which is very, very strange. Another 3-second here for Benjamin, but it's not going to be possible. Robbo's going to have to back off, and it will be over. Benjamin is far enough ahead. The challenge will not be there, even into turn 11, where you can send it. It's just not going to work. He's sticking his nose in. But I still don't think it's going to be possible. He will switcheroo. Benjamin will now have the better traction, and the move will be done. I think it will be done. Is he really going to go for the send onto the inside? Is he really? No, he won't. Goes defensive, goes Benjamin. Slight contact between the two. Wrestling, but Benjamin will take it. Zingy wins. Cohen will take the P1 in the F1.5 EU Championship, even if it was a little bit of a weird one. Nifo takes P4, and then we got Gilly. Of course, this will P2. Nifo P4, Gilly, PJ, Mizzy, Heisler, Benjamin, Robbo, Mildil, Matty, Lal, Dave Raptors, Olsen, and Tafari. That was very, very interesting. I do apologise for the mix-up, but this guy has done a perfect job today. Very well deserved. Cohen takes another win. Fantastic for him. Crazy race. This is Phil. I would agree with that one. A very good drive today for him. Driver of the day deserved. Alrighty. Zingy wins once again. He takes the win for the French Grand Prix in the F1.5 EU Championship. Then we have This Is Vil in P2. Then we got Cohen, Nifo, Gilly, PJ, Mizzy, Heisler, Benjamin, Robbo. And then we have Neil Diamatti, Olsen, and Larlick. Dave Raptors, of course, having that puncture. Telfari in P15. And then we have Shawshank, unfortunately, retiring earlier on in this race, of course. Then we're going to skim through the driver section, the incident section, and then we will also skim through the pit stop section just in case. And then that will be that. I'm going to skim through once again through the results just to get those time penalties, etc. All the good stuff that we need. And then we'll go for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to the post-race interviews of the French Grand Prix. That was a pretty eventful race, I'm going to say. We start the interviews with Robbo. Ups and downs. I don't really know what to say. It was pretty chaotic. Can you take us through qualifying first?
Yeah, quali went quite well, to be honest. Getting second, I think I was kind of sleeping a bit on the time at the end. I wasn't able to get my last lap in.
Right.
As teammates, we were trying to sort out the tow, and then I did the sin of going on my phone and then losing track of time, and wasn't able to get it in. But the lap I was able to do was pretty good. Got me second, so I was happy enough with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, still, good job there, good pace into the race. Like I said, ups and downs. It was very chaotic. There wasn't really a safety car to allow anybody to catch up, so you just had to try and make your way up the order. Can you take us through that? You were actually on the softs at one point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so it was going all right on the mediums. I ended up spinning on my own at the start, which was pretty silly of me. But then the contact, I was going all well, and then there was contact with Nifo and Dave, which caused me to spin out, and I got wing damage. So at that point, I was thinking, if I've got to lose 6 seconds or so getting a new front wing, I might as well try go for a 2-stop, see if I can gain enough time. Maybe if there's a safety car, it'll work out. But if not, I thought it was probably the best shot at getting the most points I can, instead of just going onto the same strat as everyone on hards.
Mm-hmm.
But I accidentally double clicked on the repair wing, so it set repair wing to no instead of yes, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
So then I was stuck with like half a wing on my soft stint, which probably wasn't the best, and then going on to the mediums, I then had to lose 6 seconds for the wing, and I wasn't really able to gain much time at the end. It was close with Benjamin, but because I was pushing it hard, I got a few more time penalties, and that I sort of like settled where I was, realised that I wasn't really going to get any more places. So it was potential there for a good race, but sadly it didn't really work out.
Yeah, it's a shame, but it is what it is, and with a circuit like this that's so open wide, the chances of a safety car is extremely slim. But it is what it is, and it's going to make the next race better if you get a good result, of course. Austria, and it's also a sprint race. Do you like that circuit more?
Not really. I think Austria's it's one of those tracks where it's a bit like Monza, that it's going to be close if you play the race right. It's possibly more based on like your strategy, how you do in race, rather than pace, because with the DRS zones, even though a car may be like 6/10 faster in the lap, you'll be able to keep up. So the sprint will be eventful, as it was last time, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, awesome. I'd like to hear it. One last question. How would you describe race in 3 words?
Game physics rubbish.
Yeah, it's not easy to race with, is it? Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thanks. Well done, guys.
We move on to Heisler. That was tough. All of a sudden, down the order early on in the race. You had pretty good pace to get back up the order. I think you made a position in the last few laps, right? If that's correct, or am I recalling the race completely wrong?
Yeah, it's correct, because Dave had a puncture at the end, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a really weird moment. It just went straight on, and all of a sudden I was like, what the fuck happened there?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a shame for him, but brilliant for you. The strategy, can you take us through that one?
Yeah, I think the strategy from hards to mediums helped me quite a lot. Yeah, pace was quite good. I was around the same pace as Gilly. Yeah, if I didn't spin, I was around there, I would say. But yeah, I didn't practice a lot, so it's just for fun, I think.
Fair enough. On to the next one, Austria. Do you like that circuit?
I haven't driven it yet without line. I think, yeah,
Should
it's
be
quite an
pretty
easy
easy.
track. Yeah,
Yeah.
quite an easy track, so I think it's gonna be a chaotic one.
Yeah. Fair enough. One last question. How do you describe your race in 3 words?
Just for fun.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Gilly. Gilly, pretty good points in the end, especially over your championship rival. Cohen will catch up, but still that is a P2. Are you happy with that?
I prayed to the Ferrari gods and they answered.
Fair enough. You did what Charles Leclerc couldn't. Can you take us through that race, even though it was pretty, not boring, but you didn't really do too much. Is there anything really significant that happened, or not really?
Well, I felt quite good. I was keeping up with Niffo. He claims he had wing damage, but I don't think he did. So I was keeping up with Niffo. So that felt good. But other than the first few laps where I got overtaken by half the grid, I think it was alright.
Was that to maybe set up, or just a few
No,
bad
strategy.
corners? Strategy. I like
Yeah,
it.
Zingy did a mental overtake and overtook 2 of us. And I think just after that, everyone was like, "Oh, I'll have a go."
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Well done. Brilliant points in the end. Austria. Do you think you can do well there? I think that was your first ever race in LSI, if I remember correctly.
I got pole on my
You did
first
get
ever
pole. Yeah, you did
race,
get
and
pole,
it's
didn't you?
gone downhill from there.
Do you think you can go uphill this time?
I'm gonna pray again to the Ferrari gods, and I'm gonna win it.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see if the rocket ship can get some good moves. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
My finger hurts.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Cohen. Cohen, brilliant job. Amazing pace. You started on the medium, I assume, to escape, right?
Yeah, I would have liked to go on to the hards, but I got 2 Mercedes in my back, so I just went onto the mediums and escaped first, and then I had Singy behind me, fast driver of course, so it was quite hard to keep the gap as big as possible. But yeah, at the end it was a good run on the mediums.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you still win for the EU drivers, of course, closing up the championship nicely. So brilliant points and keeping it alive. Austria, is that a good track for you? Do you like that one?
Yeah, it's very short of course, so it's hard to make a difference. And the DRS train is very important, but I think I can do a good job over there, so we'll see.
Do you think your race pace will be better because it's a sprint race? Do you think you'll be able to gain an advantage from that? Or not?
Yeah, I think so. Race pace is my weakness, I think. Quali,
Right.
I'm quite good, but race pace is something I can work on.
Yeah, I mean, from what we saw today, it's pretty good. But
It's okay, but I mean,
it's all right. It's all right. But yeah, still great points today. Better points available next time. So let's see if we can keep the momentum. One last question: how would you describe your race in 3 words?
medium hard space.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Mizzy. Mizzy, that was a tough one. Once again, up and down. It was kind of a bit of a mix. You managed to make your way up the order. Later on, you had some pretty good battles. Can you take us through that one?
Oh, absolute stinker, man. The qualifying was pretty good. Like, I didn't drive the track as much as I would like to. I was pretty busy throughout the week, so I didn't get many laps in. But P3 it was in the qualifying. Of course, I spun again on the first lap, as I usually do. Third time in a row, so yeah. The first stint was pretty good, excluding the spin, of course. The pace was decent. I was keeping up with the guys, and yeah, finished P7 in the end. I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with some decent battles with the guys up front too.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed the race.
Some good points still. So yeah, it's nice to see. Not another DNF at least, I guess. That's something nice. Austria. Do you think you can do well there? Do you like that circuit?
It is my favorite circuit on the game, so I hope I can do well there. If I'm not gonna do well, then I'm gonna be pretty pissed. So we'll see.
Awesome, awesome. I like to hear that. We'll have, of course, the sprint race, which will give you 2 chances as well. So it's going to be very, very exciting. One last question. How would you describe a race in 3 words?
Let's say very eventful race.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Yeah, thank you. See ya.
And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, early on, making your way through the grids, then the train kind of broke apart. You had a bit of work to do, some issues, and then just kind of driving on your own for the rest of the race. Can you take us through that? What happened?
I mean, the first part was just being cautious of all the drivers, because a lot of people just spun.
Yeah.
They just stayed by rubble, got massive overspeed on the straight, and then, the incident happens for political reasons, and I will not say anything about.
We didn't actually see anything on the stream, so unfortunately we can't really...
Yeah, so well, that happened, so that ruined my front wing.
Yeah.
So I drove with a front wing, broken, went into the pits, and apparently an orange, completely orange wing is not good enough to be fixed on auto, so it left me on a broken wing. And then I was driving a broken wing for the whole race. So that was eventful. Then we had contact with Robbo. I don't know. In my opinion, I was all the way to the fucking left. I don't know. I don't know if he thought it was my fault. I don't think he did, but I don't know. I think I couldn't have given him more space there, so that was unfortunate for him. And then literally just driving on my own the whole race. So it was frustrating.
Yeah. Stuff to look into, of course, for after the race. This kind of stuff happens anyway, of course, and it just makes the good times better. So we'll see how it goes. Austria, do you think you can do well there?
No, not a good track for me.
Cool. I like the optimism. Pretty confident in what's going to happen, so fair enough. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
All alone again.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today. And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, not really too much to say. Just kind of made your way through the grid. Apparently you had a spectacular move, which unfortunately I don't think we saw. And then, yeah, that was just kind of on your own, I guess, for a bit.
Yeah, at the start, I mean, I got a good start. Although the start I got, like actual traction wise, wasn't that good. However, into turn 1, I managed to find a gap, and then someone decided to touch my side ball and do a little bit of a helicopter maneuver, which, I mean, not the fastest way around the track, but whatever. And then just made my way through the field, which is fine. Some good moves, but I try to give the other drivers as much space as I possibly can, considering it's not my tier and I didn't want to cause any controversy. And then from there on, basically just I pitted, cut Coat and past them, and then I just tried to drive away. And near the end, this reveal I actually had a bit of pace on those hard tyres, so I was just trying to regulate the gap, and I done that pretty well. So there's not really much to say. However, it was good fun. Fair
enough. Most of the end of the race just racing against your dad then, I guess.
You beat me to the joke, man.
Okay, so Austria, do you think you can do well there?
Well, as you mentioned earlier on, it's a sprint race, and it runs in the family that so I do believe that I will be able to do very well in the sprint race at least. I don't think I'm much of an endurance person, considering. Actually, that sounds very dodgy.
Okay. Thank you very much. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Better than nothing.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much, everybody. That's it for me, and I'll pass you over to Zingy.
Hello there. Although I didn't commentate today, I do hope you guys had a very good race, and hope we all gave you a good show. You should join us next time on Tuesday for the practice lobbies, and on Friday and Saturday for the LSI F1 and F1.5 championships at Austria. There will be a sprint race, so it should be very entertaining. Join us again next time, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.